The 2026 Porsche 911. For decades, it's been the benchmark, the daily drivable supercar, the icon, the dream car parked on millions of bedroom walls. But in 2026, that dream is facing a brutal financial reality. A base model Carrera, the supposed entry point to the 911 legend, now starts at an MSRP of $129,950. But that number? It's a fantasy. Because by the time you sign the papers and get the keys in your hand, you could be looking at over $180,000 for the base model. How is that possible? 3 words every buyer now needs to fear: tariffs, taxes, and markups. The 911 price problem. MSRP $129,950, tariff 25%, plus $32,488, sales tax 7% average, plus $11,346, markup 5%, plus $6,498, total drive-away $180,282. Yes, you saw that right. This same Carrera that feels like it should be a $130,000 car now costs over $50,000 more in the US than you would have expected just a year ago. And if you have your heart set on the track-ready 911 GT3, a masterpiece of engineering, sure, but it's now priced like a low-end McLaren or a Ferrari Roma. This isn't just inflation, it's a perfect storm hitting one of the most beloved cars on the planet. For 2026, Porsche has streamlined the 911 lineup, but each step up is a leap in price. You have the Carrera, the brilliant all-rounder, at $129,950. Then there's the enthusiast's choice, the Carrera GTS, packing more power and poise for a cool $150,000. And at the top of this hierarchy sits the king of the naturally aspirated world, the 911 GT3, with a blistering MSRP of $224,750. But here's the critical warning for anyone in the United States. On April 3, 2025, a trade dispute culminated in a staggering 25% import tariff slapped on all German-made automobiles. On top of that, you have your state's sales tax, which will average at 7%. And to pour salt in the wound, dealers are adding markups of up to 10% on high-demand models. It's a triple threat that has turned Porsche pricing into a minefield. So today, we're going to break down exactly what this means for your wallet. We'll calculate the real cost of every single one of these models, and most importantly, we'll show you how you can fight back. Stateside buyers, buckle up. This is the financial deep dive you can't afford to miss. If you love the Porsche 911 and want the inside track on pricing hacks, honest reviews, and alerts on rare deals, do yourself a favor and hit that subscribe button right now. The Porsche legacy isn't dead, but your bank account might be if you go into a dealership unprepared. First, and most painfully, let's talk about the tariffs. This isn't a Porsche decision, it's a geopolitical one. That 25% tariff is calculated on the manufacturer's suggested retail price, and it's non-negotiable. It's a tax collected at the port, and the cost is passed directly to you, the consumer. 911 Carrera, $129,950. Tariff cost, $32,488. 911 GTS, $150,000. Tariff cost, $37,500. 911 GT3, $224,750. Tariff cost, $56,188. Let that sink in. Just to get a GT3 onto US soil, there's a $56,000 tax. That's the price of a brand new Audi S3 just gone. Poof. Your Carrera is instantly over $32,000 more expensive. The GTS, which many consider the value sweet spot, gets hit with a $37,500 penalty before it even reaches the dealership lot. And it gets worse. This tariff doesn't just apply to the cars themselves. It also hits parts imported from Germany at rates between 5 and 10%. So that future brake job, the pads and rotors will cost more. Need a new water pump down the line? That's taxed. Over the life of the car, you can expect to pay an extra $500 to $1,000 per year just for maintenance parts, all thanks to this trade policy. Meanwhile, for all you JDM fans out there, you're safe. Your Supras, your Zs, your Type Rs, they're completely untouched by this tariff. This is a targeted hit on German luxury and performance brands. Porsche, BMW, Mercedes, Audi, they're all in the crosshairs. Next up in this gauntlet of fees is good old-fashioned sales tax. It's the price of doing business in America, but when the numbers are this big, it stings. The US national average sales tax is around 7%. On a base Carrera, that's another $11,346 you have to fork over to Uncle Sam. For the GT3, you're looking at a staggering $19,666 in sales tax alone. Carrera, post-tariff price $162,438, sales tax 7% is $11,366. GT3, post-tariff price $280,938, sales tax 7% is $19,666. And that 7% is just an average. If you live in a high-tax state like California, with rates around 8.5% or higher in some cities, that number climbs even more. Yes, it stacks. The pain just keeps compounding. And before our European viewers get too smug, remember that over in Germany, they have a 19% value-added tax baked into the price. The price pain is truly a global phenomenon for car buyers. And finally, after you've been battered by federal tariffs and state taxes, you arrive at the dealership. And here you face the most frustrating charge of all, the dealer markup, or the additional dealer profit as they sometimes call it. At Porsche Finder, just got a quote for a 2026 GT3. They're adding a $25K markup and told me to take it or leave it. Unreal. Renlist forum user. My local dealer has a $15K adjustment on a GTS, said it's for high demand. It's pure profit. At 911 Dreamer, been on the waitlist for a year for a Carrera, and now they want a $10K markup, feeling defeated. With demand for the 911 still high sky, dealers know they have leverage. For a base Carrera, you might see a 5% markup, but for the highly coveted GTS and GT3 trims, those markups are stretching from 5% to 10%, and in some extreme cases, even more. That's up to $22,475 of pure dealer profit on a GT3. They are cashing in on 911 fever, and your wallet is the casualty. All right, let's put it all together. Let's start with the entry-level 911, the 2026 Carrera. As we know, it lists at $129,950. MSRP $129,950, add 25% tariff plus $32,488 equals $162,438, add 7% sales tax plus $11,371 equals $173,089, add 5% dealer markup plus $64,98 equals $183,007. Let's walk through the math. We start with the MSRP, add the 25% tariff, and you're at $162,438. Now you pay 7% sales tax on that number, which is $11,371. That brings us to $173,089. Finally, a conservative 5% dealer markup, which they usually calculate on the original MSRP, adds another $64,98. Your final out-the-door price is $180,307. That's a 38.7% increase over the sticker price. And this is the base model. For that money, what do you get? You get a magnificent 3.0-liter twin-turbo flat-6 engine producing 394 horsepower, Porsche's lightning-fast PDK transmission, and the latest PCM infotainment system. It's a phenomenal car, but is it a $180,000 car? Maintenance, $2,500 to $3,000. Insurance, $2,000 to $2,500. Tires every 15,000 miles, approximately $1,800. And don't forget ownership costs. Plan on at least $3,000 a year for routine maintenance and over $2,000 for insurance, depending on your record and location. Now for the enthusiast's darling, the 911 Carrera GTS. It's the Goldilocks of the lineup. More power, better handling, but not as extreme as the GT3. The MSRP is $150,000. MSRP $150,000, add 25% tariff, plus $37,500 equals $187,500. Add 7% sales tax plus $13,125 equals $200,625. Add 5% dealer markup plus $7,500 equals $208,125. But the real price? Let's run the numbers. The $37,500 tariff brings you to $187,500. Add 7% sales tax. That's another $13,125. Tack on a very likely 5% dealer markup, another $7,500. Total out-the-door price, $208,125. That's a 38.75% hike over MSRP. The GTS justifies its premium with a bump to 473 horsepower, a standard sport exhaust, Porsche's active suspension management, PASM, and bigger brakes. And most crucially, it's one of the few models where you can still get an optional 7-speed manual transmission. A May 12th industry report confirmed what we all knew. 52% of GTS buyers still opt for the 3-pedal experience. It's the purist's choice, but now it comes with a $208,000 price tag. Maintenance, $3,000 to $5,000. Insurance, $2,200 to $2,800. Tires every 10,000 miles, approximately $2,200. Expect yearly ownership costs to be a bit higher here too. Think $3,000 to $5,000 for maintenance, especially with more aggressive track use, and insurance creeping up towards $2,200 or more. And now, the main event, the reason people camp out at dealerships, the track-ready beast, the 2026 Porsche 911 GT3. Its base price is a hefty $224,750, but that's just the entry fee to the club. MSRP $224,750. Add 25% tariff plus $56,188 equals $280,938. Add 7% sales tax plus $19,666 equals $300,604. Add 5% dealer markup plus $11,238 equals $311,842. This is where the numbers get truly insane. The tariff alone is over $56,000. Add that and you're at $280,938.
The 7% sales tax is another $19,666. And the dealer markup? We're being conservative with 5%, which is $11,238. In reality, you'll see $20,000 or $25,000 markups on these all day long. But even with our numbers, your out-the-door price is $311,842. That's over 38% more than MSRP. What are you getting for the price of a house in some parts of the country? You get a 4.0-liter, naturally aspirated flat 6 that revs to 9,000 RPM, 502 horsepower, the most advanced aerodynamics on a road-going 911. It's one of the most communicative, best-handling platforms ever made. It's an experience, a weapon, a work of art. But at over $311,000, the financial sting is impossible to ignore. And the market is already reacting. In Q1 of 2025, right as whispers of the tariffs began, Porsche 911 US sales dipped by 8%. The price pain is having a real effect. Okay, that was the bad news. It's bleak, but you are not powerless. If you're determined to put a 911 in your garage, here is your 3-step plan to fight back against these insane prices. First, negotiate from a position of strength. Dealers have more room to move on base Carreras and Carreras S models than they do on the ultra-hot GT3. Go in knowing the exact tariff cost. Say, I know the MSRP is $150,000, and the tariff is $37,500. Let's talk about the price of the car itself before we get to the unavoidable government fees. This shows you've done your homework. Challenge the markup directly. Ask them what value it provides. If they say it's for high demand, tell them you're willing to wait or look elsewhere. Getting them to reduce or remove the markup is your biggest opportunity for savings. And always read the fine print. Some dealers will try to bake the tariff cost into a bundled prep fee or hide it in the financing. Be vigilant. Second, be smart about taxes. This can save you thousands. If you have the flexibility, consider purchasing the car in a state with no vehicle sales tax, like New Hampshire, Oregon, Montana, Alaska, or Delaware. Let's take that $208,000 GTS. Buying it in New Hampshire, 0% tax, versus California, 8.5% tax, could save you nearly $16,000. Now, this requires logistical planning. You may need to set up an LLC in that state or have a legitimate address, and you'll have to arrange transport. It's complicated, but for a 5-figure saving, it can be worth the research. Another option is leasing. While not for everyone, leasing can result in lower monthly payments, and you only pay tax on the payment amount, not the full price of the car, which can ease the initial blow. And third, and this is the hardest part, be patient. Historically, car prices tend to soften towards the end of the year as dealers push to meet quotas. By Q4 of 2025, if inventory builds up due to price resistance, that $208,000 GTS could dip below the $200K mark as dealers become more willing to negotiate on their markup. And your absolute best weapon? The used market. Let the first owner take the massive depreciation hit from the tariff and markup. On sites like Bring a Trailer, you can already find lightly driven, 1-year-old 2025 GTS models for around $140,000 to $150,000. You skip the markup, skip the waitlist, and still get 99% of the new car experience and all of that Porsche magic. Consider a certified pre-owned from a Porsche dealer for added warranty and peace of mind. This is what it's all about. This is what $208,125 gets you. A manual 911 GTS, 473 horses at your command, and the raw, visceral joy that only a rear-engined, flat-six Porsche can deliver. The steering talks to you. The chassis feels alive. Every gear change is an event. Compared to the GT3's razor-sharp focus, the GTS is the perfect road companion. It's tamer, yes, but infinitely more usable on a daily basis. A recent poll of owners showed 59% believe the flat-six engine isn't just a motor, it's the heart and soul of the 911 experience. And from behind the wheel, it's impossible to disagree. So is the 2026 911 still the dream? Absolutely, but it now comes with a nightmarish price tag, driven by a perfect storm. Tariffs add $32,000 to $56,000. Sales tax add $11,000 to $20,000. Markups add $6,000 to $22,000 plus. These are the real prices dealers don't want you to think about. But with smart negotiation, tax planning, and patience, you can dodge the worst of it and still make the dream a reality. So now I turn it over to you. Would you pay nearly a 40% premium for a brand new 2026 911? Drop your vote in the poll right here and let me know your reasoning in the comments below. Thank you for watching. Make sure you're subscribed because next week we're going deep on the 911 GT3 with a price tag over $300,000. Is it still the undisputed king of analog thrills, or has it priced itself out of its own legend? You won't want to miss it.